I am feeling better. Thank you for asking, but we'll see if my headache finally fades. Anytime soon. Just took some pain meds. I just feel vindicated that Luigi is literally worse than Mario, and I've just been through like over half the special worlds on literal hard mode. I shot. Thank you, Warp Core. Always appreciate the planet. And hi, Sean. Hi, Wogthard. Hey, Jalito. And hey, Will King. How do you do the Mario? Actually, there is a way to kill the shadow thing. It's just harder to do than it sounds. You have to get one of those blocks to materialize on it, which means you have to be in the place where it's going to materialize into. Like that, essentially. If it was materialized when I hit it. Yeah, not something I recommend doing all the time. Gonna not play around here. We're past the playing around point of our lives here. I hope you have everything you need at least, period. Charger, comma, phone, comma, Kindle, comma, clothes, comma, etc. period. I experiment. This is almost assuredly a death. Losing this much health for this final screen, this is gonna suck. Or I could just be awesome. I guess. The burger was good. Thank you for asking. I asked for extra lettuce, which always helps. And then I laid down and closed my eyes for a few minutes because I was just... It actually arrived. I know, it's shocking. By the way, what do you want to put that torch for? Because if you don't tell me, I swear to God. I suppose I should go get some power-ups. Because that's the game we're playing, and I should be treating it like the game we're playing instead of trying to artificially do the hard mode thing, which I've been doing this entire time. I mean, at this point, it's whatever. It's not like we're starting Mario World today, right? There's no way. Not unless I beat this game, like, very soon. I don't know. What's it worth to you, Warp Core? Okay. No, the extra lettuce, first of all, has some fiber. But also, the extra crunch just makes the whole thing more palatable. It's, something that not a lot of people really understand the value of, is the texture of food matters a lot. So if you have just like a greasy boiger, that's whatever. But if you have something to help, you know, reduce the sheer amount of grease that you're dealing with, you know, that's helpful, right? So, the STO, I'm just going to put that as STO at this point. And FTL, FTL. You got a warp core, thank you. Hey, warp core, I got a question for you. Do you think the current story arc is one we're actually going to see the conclusion of? So, Bregman might actually be old enough to remember this. That's not a dig. Back in the day, there was a burger that McDonald's sold called the McLean. Now, it was capitalizing on trying to be like, oh man, it's totally healthier for you. The main difference was that they absolutely bogarted the lettuce on that thing. Like, it was like a crap ton of lettuce on top of an otherwise fairly normal burger, right? Guess what my favorite McDonald's burger of all time is? Better than 50% chance. That's better odds than I would give it. I'm not gonna lie. I suppose the interest of fairness, what's most likely to happen is we'll see the end of the current arc, whether it's good or not. And that will be the end of STO. That'll be the final thing. Yeah, we'll see, Warp Core. I don't want to sound negative, but not only are they not doing well as a company in general, then you add on to that the fact that their parent company, excuse me, their parent company's parent company, literally, is also not doing well. Then you add the fact that their parent company is currently up for sale. I am not that hopeful. What? Good! Exclamation mark. Hope you have a safe trip. Period. Please stop bothering me. Stop getting me killed. Star Trek Online, which is very much self-destructing right now. As Cryptic is falling apart completely as a company. Cryptic is under Gearbox, which has not only been falling apart as a company, but is actively being sold. And Gearbox is owned by Embracer Group. And that really should be all I need to say about that, if you're even remotely familiar with that situation. That's what I'm thinking, Warp Core. This might be a Blood from Stone situation with STO as well. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Also, Star Trek in general is losing profitability, which is why Paramount has been absolutely pulling back like crazy on their Star Trek support. So that's cool, too. So, none of that is good. I don't think I could make that jump, Inquisitor Zero. But I'm gonna try it. Holy crap, that was closer than I thought. Yeah, no, they're... For those of you who follow the more financial and, the more boring side of companies like I do, yeah, Cryptic is going away. So what I'm very likely to do, even though it actually irritates the crap out of me to do this, is I'm very likely to go ahead and either shuffle back the medium dark or shuffle around when we do the medium dark or something in order to try and get... Where the hell? There it is. In order to try and get in... try to get an STO before it dies. Like, I already had that concern last year when we did the STO review. That concern has not gotten any better, you know what I mean? Jesus Christ, mother, please. Timing. Cool. The problem, for those of you not aware of the problem, is that STO's current arc is not done. It stopped in midstream. Might have one more episode in it, maybe two. Depends on how they line it up. But either way, it definitely is not a concluded arc right now. Oh, agreed, Biogu, absolutely. The problem here, and I don't want to sound too anti-New Trek, but New Trek sucks and is garbage and I hate it. Okay, got that out of the way. But for real, I don't want to sound anti-New Trek. But it's worth noting, for various reasons, that pretty much every New Trek story arc in STO has been total garbage. The entire Sister of T'Kuvma arc, for those of you not aware of it, T'Kuvma was a character from New Trek, from Discovery. And I honestly feel like that says all it needs to. Really? Really? Oh yeah, I also have finished Terran Gambit on my own time now. I don't think it's that good, to be blunt. Story-wise. Story-wise. Will has to go into maintenance mode. Who knows with MMOs? Some MMOs have gone into maintenance mode, and that's fine, honestly. You know, that's there for historical preservation purposes, for nostalgia purposes, for I want to go play an old game purposes. Some MMOs just get the plug pulled. It's a little hard to predict that, because that's up to people who don't understand the decisions they're making. And I'm going to phrase it that way, because it's the freaking truth. Nope, death. Which online emoji I think would die before STO would die? Tor! Oh, wait! Yeah, EQ is still going, although EQ is locked into a corner at this point, and they know it. I don't want to sound negative. Actually, I'm happy that EQ is still going, legitimately. But EQ is not going anywhere at this point. It knows who and what it's going for in terms of its audience, and it is not rocking that boat to save its life. It'd be a lot easier level if I went to get power-ups before I did it. Which I should probably just do at this point. Is Tor dead? I don't like to use the word dead, but yeah, Tor's frickin' dead. There is... Let's put it to you this way. If you are sinking on a ship and you look over, you got your lifeboat, right? Your life raft. And you look over and you see there's a lifeboat there. It's on fire, it's got holes in it, and they don't have any paddles. It is possible that lifeboat will save your life. It is. It is something that might happen. And that's Tor. Like, it was doing bad before they ripped it out of BioWare's grips, and before EA started going the mandatory restructuring, which has seen a lot of people get fired recently. Tor is the broken lifeboat. The sinking ship is BioWare. I mean, even if they finish the current arc, Warp Core, I cannot be the only person who's noticed that the ratio of actual updates to new ship releases has slanted heavily in the last, I'd say, about 2 years at this point. Like, they know what the only thing that's making them money at this point, and they're leaning into it pretty hard. I wasn't thinking about it gameplay-wise, Warp Core. So I have no idea. Yeah, the KOTOR remake is still currently on ice at the moment. Well, the odds of you successfully convincing me to review EverQuest aren't the lowest odds in the universe. Their MMOs, I think, would be even worse streams than EverQuest. But... you would have to make it substantially worth my while to convince me to essentially waste a couple of months of my life getting nothing done for a stream that would actually damage my show and my viewership for the purposes of covering a game that I hate. I'm not saying all of these things are impossible, just pointing out the difficulties involved therewith. Asshole. Not you, not you. Sorry. It's just this guy's hitbox, excuse me, his hurt box, it's a little bit larger than it looks. And so it's really hard to avoid getting hit by him, even when he's only a little bit behind you. Jesus Christ. I 100% think we're going to another Trek death. Just like the last Trek death, it will probably not be like a true death, like a total death. But Star Trek is going to go from being an active thing to gone for a while, I think. And that's where we're at. It's not, yeah, it's not Rick Berman's fault this time. I did not get sushi. I got McDonald's. Does that count? So counts for something, right? I think it'll come back too. It came back last time. There's actually... the problem is this is such a complicated situation that I can't even explain it to you because I don't fully understand it at the moment. I haven't spent the time and energy to really research what was going on with Paramount over the last few years. The real problem here is that Paramount went all in on a specific strategy with New Trek and tried to go with the saturation approach, almost assuredly because of the fact that Disney was already pushing the saturation approach with their properties, with both Star Wars and with Marvel. You're probably thinking, well, but that was years ago. You have to understand where production cycles sit and when these decisions are made. They made that decision a long time ago, like before Infinity War came out. That's how far back we're talking at this point. It's been a minute. And so while the MCU was still running hot, god damn you and your stupid soul, they were like, oh my god, we gotta get a piece of that pie. We've got a great property, and we've got a great team. Let's go ahead and make it happen. They allowed the Kelvin movies to be a little bit of a taste to see what audience interest was like. And even though Into Darkness was hot garbage, and it still sold pretty well, and Beyond sold pretty well too, and that's kind of the only thing they actually care about, right? So, they jumped in. They went all in on that kind of strategy. And, End statement. Everything else about... Now, see, the reason I say... You're probably like, that doesn't sound complicated. The reason why it's complicated is because it's kind of hard to explain why that approach failed. Because it's one of those things where, on paper, it probably should have succeeded. Pick up the frick... Why didn't you pick up the flower? You say Lower Decks is doing pretty well. By what metric are you saying that? Because if you say in terms of quality of the show, sure, but as horrible as that sounds, that has nothing to do with anything. You might say in terms of viewership members, but sadly, that's not necessarily a big deal either. What Paramount cares about at the moment is how many people are buying Paramount Plus. And subscription services are a thing. And historically speaking, generally don't make all that much money. Even the actual kings, still current kings of streaming services, is a company that's famously known for not making money. Yeah, Netflix. Sorry, I glanced out away for a moment and glanced back, and that was my mistake. I apparently cannot read chat while doing this freaking stage. Literal look away from the screen for half a second, and death! But yes, Netflix. Netflix is known for not making money. Like that slow moving fireball there. Just trying to get me. Just trying to get me. Nope. Took too long. No, absolutely, Ross. It is worth noting that Star Trek's viewership figures, granted, these are not absolute figures because we had very inaccurate information back then, peaked during Season 4 of TNG. And they did nothing but decline every single year afterwards across all the shows, up to and including Enterprise. That's a lie. I mean, there are occasional bumps up. I shouldn't say like that. I mean, what I mean is, they never got back up to that peak. And they would fall, and they would fall, and occasionally it would go up a little bit, and then it would fall some more. That's normal, by the way. There's nothing actually wrong with that. It's like saying WoW was peak during Wrath because it had the most player base during Wrath, which is kind of an eyebrow-raising thing. Good morning, Darkrai. Welcome to me dying on this stage over and over. I am your host. I don't actually remember off the top of my head, Ross. I remember that in DS9, a certain cameo, which became a main character, it was a fairly large rating boost. You know the one. Yes, Warp Carp. Off a cliff runner. You know, that sounds like a fun game, actually. Hang on. What did Inquisitor Zero ask? Do you have any ideas of how you'd have gone instead? Oh, what I would have done instead of what Paramount did. No, the highest rated the highest rated episode of TNG, of all of Trek. You could probably guess the exact episode. Because it's really, really, really obvious. Yeah. Season 4, Episode 1. Trek has never, not counting new stuff, had a higher viewed episode than that one. So what I would have probably done, first of all, what Geludo said. Let's license Trek to other platforms and not try to make our own platform. Don't mistake me, I'm actually kind of pro let's do it ourselves. Like, literally. My friends call me Thanos, not because I like killing half the universe because I'm insane, but because of the fact that I have a very fine, I'll do it myself mentality. So I'm usually the kind of guy who's like, yeah, no, screw it, let's just do it ourselves. The problem is, that doesn't apply linearly. That doesn't apply to every situation, right? There are times when you need to accept using someone else's pre-existing resources or letting someone else do it, right? I mean, I don't mean to undersell this, but do you have any freaking idea how much work and effort goes into making a streaming service? And how much expense? Give you a hint. It's a lot. Please get off my back, you jack. He's not gonna, is he? He's not gonna. And I have no chance. I have no time to go get a power-up, so I'm just stuck being small for the rest of the stage. Oh my god! Hang on, hang on. Can't watch chat for a second. Holy crap. Yeah, no, so it is the exact same equation as going to make your own game engine. Now, that can work. In fact, I would encourage certain game developers to do exactly that. In fact, that's what I plan to do someday. But that's because I plan to use that game engine a lot and then license out that game engine. If you're going to go ahead and make a streaming service, you better be prepared not only to have a crap ton of content on that, but to be then selling your streaming service to other people with more content. Paramount did neither of those things. They pulled an EA. Yeah, Disney can get away with it, because Disney actually has the firepower to pull off something like that. By the way, Final World. Oh, every single one of these is an unlock. Every single one. And they all suck. But yeah, Paramount was like, yeah, let's do ourselves with blackjack and hookers. And it was a terrible freaking idea. Go figure. So that was a tremendous amount of expense that got them essentially nothing in return. They did not profit from that action, you know? So, problem number one. Problem number two. What I would have probably done is been a little bit more cautious about trying to saturate with Star Trek content. Now, this is actually a really complex topic, because how much is too much saturation and how much is too little is a much finer line than you would probably think. But because you do want Trek out there. You want Trek out there, you want people aware of it, you want people cognizant of it. But if you're trying to push out, oh god, what was it, like 6 shows simultaneously, which is what they were doing at their height, you've probably pushed it too far. Having said that, 1 or 2 main shows being pushed alongside several miniseries might have worked a lot better. And I say might. I'm not actually sure about that. But that is the direction I would go. Like, for example, let's just presume for a second the Discovery didn't totally suck, okay? So you have your main pillar of Discovery. That's your new era of Trek, because doing that as a prequel was a terrible idea from the beginning. So you have this new era of Trek covered by Discovery, and then in Discovery you introduce Giorgio, and then you do your spin-off series starring her, right? And when I say series, I mean mini-series, not a full show. A full show is a different type of expense and a different type of investor. And it's a lot riskier, because you will gradually bleed out viewers on that show. That's inevitable. Thank you, Dark Day. It's been a good few days. We've been playing Mario. Mario's good. Hope you've been doing alright. If you want to put that towards anything, let's say up to 3 things, please let me know. So, animated shows. Bingo. So what I would do is I would have one live-action main show, one animated show, and then we'd be doing branches based off of that. So, based on what I know now this is hindsight, I probably would have actually had Prodigy be the central animated show and have Lower Decks be an offshoot of that. Sorry, what I mean by that is without the advantage of hindsight. With the advantage of hindsight, that should probably be swapped. But I wouldn't have known that back then. Because Lower Decks feels like a guidance show. It feels like an ancillary program, right? And if I'm being totally honest, and I talked about this when it was announced, nothing about its announcement indicated that it was going to be good. I mentioned that. I covered that during lore weeks leading up to its release. So, color... Egg on my face! Ow. I know, right, Mike Toronto? Who would have frickin' known? I don't know, maybe the actual producers would have known, or that is to say, the money people would have known, because they would have had access to the producers and the writers team, which I, of course, had none of that, so who knows? Maybe they would have been able to tell. I sure didn't. I knew that was going to happen, too. Yeah. I honestly, I think those 2 changes would be the big changes for what I would do with Paramount and with Star Trek. Don't spread yourself so thin, and don't try to make your own freaking platform with nothing to put on it. Sure. Probably Dark Day. It is apparently not that bad. I have to keep saying it that way because I still haven't actually watched it. So hang on. So we've got... They had Discovery, Picard, the Section 31 show they wanted to do, which they never did. So that's 3. And then Lower Decks, Prodigy, that's 5. I feel like... Oh, and Strange New Worlds. That is 6. I was right. They were going to do 6 shows concurrently. They never actually did 6 shows concurrently, but that was the plan. Oh, and the reason that's relevant, other than the obvious, is the fact that they probably spent actual time, work, and most importantly, well, money on pre-production work, set design, casting, etc. for all those shows, some of which never even freaking happened. God damn it. So, yeah. 6 shows is a bit much. Now, I know the era has moved on. I know television has moved on, but it's worth noting that we do have proof positive of 2 shows going concurrently, and that actually working out quite well. It even helps that those 2 shows were actually very, very different from each other in tone and style. God damn this level. It is just, there's so much crap trying to hit me in this level. It's not even a good stage. It's not even a good stage. It's not getting a plus. So this is just a waste of my time. I think that's what's really irritating me, is it's like, can I just get on with the actual stages, please? It's funny you say that, Darker. I'm not saying I disagree, but most of my friends were the most excited about that show of all of them. Also, based on what we know in retrospect, there's a very good chance that the show that they very briefly announced, which was going to be the future show, probably merged into Discovery Season 3. No, short treks were a decent idea, Mike Tomato. That's the kind of thing I was kind of talking about. So I should write that down. 8-1. I should go get some power-ups. We're officially in the no really hard mode stuff. I should be walking into every stage with a raccoon. As an aside, I would be more inclined to support the animated shows than the live-action ones. There's two big reasons for that. Hi, Krenzler. How'd it go? You don't have to tell me, sir. That's too personal. I apologize. I hope it went well. Excuse me. So the first thing is my own understanding of television production, which has developed a lot over the years. I have done a huge amount of study, research, and looking into the construction and design of television shows, both back in the 90s and also nowadays. And having looked at all of that from just a production and a creative standpoint, I really feel like animation has such a higher ceiling on what you can do with it. It's never going to hit the same way to certain audience members as live action. That's why you still have a live action show or live action movies. But it is going to hit more consistently and honestly to a larger audience base than live action. Especially as we are now finally getting out of that nonsense idea that animation is just for kids. Yeah, exactly, Blade Jamal. So, that's reason number one. Reason number two is money. Animation is certainly something that, you know, can be expensive and should have time and effort and money spent on it. But it's always going to be way cheaper than doing live action. Especially live action sci-fi, which is more expensive than most live actions.
Wow. Let's go.
Oh my god. I know this is another comet stage, so another not a positive, so that's already great. I don't even know how I hit that. But that's okay, we'll just live with it. That's cool, we'll just die. We'll just die. Well, older people are dying, so that's always helpful. Not to sound evil about that, but that is absolutely a contributing factor. But part of it is because just sheer momentum. There are just too many shows that are clearly not for kids that are animated. And that hasn't stopped. That hasn't gone away, right? It's pretty much the... For those of you who are familiar with history, it's pretty much the exact same thing that happened with books a very long time ago. Remember when everyone's like, ah, books are just trash! Pulp garbage that only kids read. And yeah, that's just persistence and effort and culture pushed that out of public consciousness bit by bit. And I mean, that's been true for everything, right? Video games are just for kids. Television is just for kids. Movies are just for kids. Comic books are just for kids. Books are just for kids. Theater. You remember that one? I mean, not that I was around for that. I'm not that old, but... Yes, that's a real thing. I'm not actually being facetious, Lord Harriman. Goes back a ways. But it is a real thing. Greek tragedies weren't for kids, but they were for morons. Cheap, garbage drivel to entertain the masses. Anybody who actually is worth their salt isn't going to be watching any of that trash. What a waste of time and effort and materials. Ugh. Look it up if you don't believe me. As I am fond of telling people, Shakespeare was originally considered schlock for poor people. That was a little close. Wait a minute on this one. There's another level that's not getting a positive, by the way. I wonder if these are all comet levels. Seriously, Lord Aramont, this is ridiculous. I did, Dark Day. You put it towards Let Me Not Die, Doom Block, and Dragon Quest XI's. There. I didn't die. And I read it. Yeah, no, one of my fellow historical geeks, I was trying to think of what title to fix there, was rather fond of saying that Shakespeare was the Michael Bay of his era. And frankly, that's a really good parallel. Ah. It's a good point, Darkrai. It's a very good point. But no, obviously not. Instead, it gets 4 negatives for being worse in every way. I'm so sorry, Ross. Yes, music for kids and for the unwashed masses was also a thing. You remember, I mean, that's an easy one to point to. Elvis. The era, I don't know how familiar you are with Elvis in Europe, but he was a phenomenon and was considered risque and drivel and just, you know, the kind of thing that only some kind of punk teen would listen to, right? That's not for proper people. That's not for adults, okay? I don't know, Blade Jamal. Truth be told, I haven't played it. I bought it the day it came out, but I haven't played it. I will admit I do not hate everything in the universe. Oh god, it's one of these stages. You remember how in Mario Galaxy 2, some of the later stages would, like, combine comet modifiers to just make your life hell? Well, that's what they're doing here. We've got a timer, and we've got a giant Shadow Mario. So that's my life now. Okay, I don't have time for you. I've already lost my power-up, too, so we gotta do this live. You son of a Submariner. I had to go for that. I was already committed to it. So now we're small. Dodge the hammer, bro, and hit the Potaboo that I couldn't even possibly have known was coming. Okay. Yep, Elvis didn't die, he just went home. I should know. I'm the one who replaced him. Obviously, I'm a lot sexier than Elvis, though, so, you know, I got that going for me. But yeah, that general mentality, that's just human nature, I think, honestly. I count myself fortunate to have a good working relationship with, like, my niece, for example, so I can kind of try and bypass the I'm old and don't understand the new thing. Because that's really what that tends to boil down to. That and just plain old elitism. Surely you've heard such and such isn't a real such and such before as an actual argument, right? Like, I'm sure you've heard that at some point in your life. I've heard that a ton. My personal favorite there is that video game music isn't real music, which is an argument I've heard more than once from more than one people. Okay, so I made a tactical error there. We're going to commit to it, because it's too late to undo it. Cool. I have made that argument in my life. And I stand by it! That's not true. I have actually walked that back. I can even tell you the argument, and I have walked back on that argument. The specific thing is me hitting the wrong button. That's not really a button hitting if I hit the wrong button. I have said that mobile games are not real video games. Yeah, that's the one. I have walked back on that. Mobile games are trash, but they're not, you know, they're still video games. There's only one elitist thing I savor. I save. I have reserved the right to be elitist about one thing. Can anyone guess what it is? I'm actually curious. It's the only thing. It's the only thing I can be elitist about. This frickin' stage. Actually, tanking is correct. I can't believe you got that, Lord Aramon. I am elitist about tanking in MMOs. That's true in FF14, and that's true in WoW. I have been a tank in those games for literally over a decade. And if you do not keep up with my standards, then gosh darn it. Cool. Yep, that's what I wanted to happen. Lose my power-up immediately to a guy who I basically couldn't dodge. Look, all I demand is that tanks do their job, okay? You don't have to be the best tank ever. Actually, my standards aren't really that high, to be totally honest with you. I'll reserve the right to complain, but I'm not actually going to raise a fuss unless you're being terrible. I have seen some truly terrible Titan tanks in my life. I don't know, does being adherent to Rule 0 qualify as being elitist? I feel like that doesn't qualify as being elitist. A bad tank is actually worse than a bad healer. A bad healer can be compensated for, but a bad tank... tanks control the fight. How the fight flows and goes, where you fight, what you fight, that's all under the control of the tank. If the healer is bad, that can be compensated for, I should know. If the tank is bad, that is possible to compensate for. But usually the way you compensate for a bad tank is by just tanking. Like, off-tanking. You just take over the role of tank. And at that point, that's not really... like, that kind of defeats the point, you know? So, I would say a bad tank is worse than a bad healer, personally. I hate you, Kamek. I want you to know that I hate you so much for your stupid magic Koopa whatever thing. The thing that you're wielding that I know the word of and I can't think of it right now because I'm kind of busy trying not to die in lava. Why is there lava? Someone explain this to me. Wand! That's the word. So, wand. Yeah, we're going to turn Kamek into a major villain in R. Mario. It's happening. You realize at this point, R. Mario is just going to be the narrative backdrop to the Mario 4X, right? I enjoy FF14 tanking, but I would say that it is... the easiest of the 3 jobs in FF14. I think is how I want to phrase that. Maybe easiest isn't like the right word, because that sounds elitist. But no, you know what I mean, right? Like, it's the least intense and least terrifying of the 3 jobs in FF14. I find healing way more intense and engaging in FF14. And DPS also has, honestly, some fairly strict requirements placed upon it, by nature of how the game is. It's not like in WoW, where, you know, oh god, 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 is roughly what tanking feels like. When you're sitting there watching your health just kind of slowly trickle away, and you're hitting every button and pulling every little maneuver, and like, essentially, I don't want to say glitching the game out, but you're like breaking the game just to get a few more extra seconds of life in order to manage to give the DPS time they need to actually pull the boss down. That's tanking in WoW, you know what I mean? Oh no, aggro is a non-factor in WoW, as it should be. At this point in time, I can say, with historical backing, that aggro generation should not be part of the gameplay mechanics of playing a tank. At this point in history, WoW, if by simply being a tank spec, you generate, I think it's 8 times the threat anything else does. And again, I absolutely think that's how it should be. If you have lost aggro on a tank in WoW, then you, or them, or both, are doing something extremely wrong. Now, all of the gameplay mechanics of tanking in WoW are all about living and controlling, like I said. There's a lot of stuns, there's a lot of gathers, closers, situational stuff, maneuvering stuff, that kind of a thing is very, very common when it comes to tanking in WoW. See, every stream devolves into talking about Star Trek and WoW. That's just how it is. I'm not even mad. I'm mad about that fireball, though. Jesus, did you see that nonsense? Holy crap. Oh, I remember Lord Aramon. Do you remember the 5 Sunders rule? Actually, you probably don't, because you probably weren't playing WoW in vanilla, Lord Aramon. So back in vanilla, we had the 5 Sunders rule, which is exactly what it sounds like. You do not do anything. No dots, no heals, no nothing. You just sit there and wait for the tank to generate enough rage to get 5 Sunders off on the target. The tank also has to do those first. Because, you know, back in the day, you only had 16 debuff slots. So you had to kind of be cautious with those. So let's assume we want the feather for this. Let's just assume that. Now, I don't mean this to be another vanilla sucks argument. But vanilla sucks! Hitler! But, oh, there we go. Several MMOs have dipped their toes into making aggro generation the mechanic of the tank, and every time they've done it, it's not only slowed down the content itself, as in literally, like, just made every fight more padded, for lack of a better way to put it, but it has made playing a tank more aggravating, more irritating, and less engaging. Which, in addition to the obvious problems, also means less people are playing tanks, which reduces the number of groups happening at all, and it has a fairly large domino effect on the MMO's quality. There's a reason why every MMO that has threat generation as a mechanic has just walked away from that being a gameplay mechanic. Legion, X-Wildcard, easy answer. Oh, geez, I don't know, Casual. Give me some specific characters and I'll answer you, but you're asking me of, like, of these 50 characters and of these 106 characters, which of them would get along with each other and which of them would hate each other? I don't know. In Enterprise, they're attacked by an unknown alien race that were harvesting chemicals. Were those the Protoborg? No. In fact, they were nothing. They were a non-race. Hey, does this look familiar? Because we've actually already done this stage. It's just being remixed again. And I think I'm going to officially give a negative for these optional stages because they're just remixing the same stages they've already remixed. This is quite literally the 3rd time we've done this stage. Guys, you're better than this. You have great level design in this game. Do it. Worf would find Garrosh interesting, but ultimately, here's the tragedy of that. I think Worf would be repulsed by Garrosh. Sure. But I think Garrosh would, I don't want to say fall in love with, but like Garrosh would cling to Worf pretty hard. Like, he would super fangasm over Worf. Yep, and we're dead. And the sad part is Worf could probably teach Garrosh to be a better person. If not for the fact that Worf is disgusted by him, and therefore that won't happen. So that's cool. Cool. I do agree that their how do I phrase that? I agree that their ability to make good ship design has gone up over the years. Like, not just in terms of stronger, just better designed. That's normal. Most MMOs go through that. Most MMOs, the later classes are almost always better than the earlier classes. That's the designers getting better at their jobs, really. Jesus Christ. So that makes sense. Actually, they have two Dark Day. There's the 3Ds, and there's the 2Ds. So, Thrall and Cisco. I can see Thrall and Cisco getting along very well together. By the way, there it is, 290. By the way, I'm going to close off the guessing game pretty soon, because this is the last stage. This is what we needed those 290 coins for. This is why we cheated. Throw up the cheat flag. In order to do. So, get your guessing game in here. Let me, give me a second. Let me look at the list here for a moment. Exactly, Mike Bono. Okay, let's see. Yeah, correct, Inquisitor, sir. They never come back. We have, unless you count STO. Janeway and Tyrande. Oh, Jesus. Janeway and Tyrande. I feel like what we would have between Janeway and Tyrande is the two of them are so like each other that they would hate each other. Like, they would bounce off of each other hard, right? And they would just kind of get uppity and go up each other's face, and they would have like a I'm better than you off between the two of them. I'm not actually joking. I really think that's what would happen. Correct, Mike Kamano. Which is funny, because historically, every time there's two Janeways, they argue with each other. I'm not making that up. You can check. Garrosh and Grom Hellscream. Would this be a good time to mention that the two of those have met? And they did absolutely nothing with it, so I have no idea if they'd actually get along or not. Sorry, I jotted down my notes in a specific way so I could try to keep track of all this. Tom Paris and Locarno, they look at each other, scream, and then faint. Just like that. No, Kieran Ellior. Let's see. Thrall with Kirk. God, I don't know. I think Thrall and Kirk would be like, yeah! I think Thrall and Sisko would be like, drinking buddies. And then Thrall and Picard, they wouldn't get along at all. Picard would look down on Thrall, like, a lot. And vice versa. Whoops. Nope. There we go. Yep, nope, that's what I thought. Sisko does now. Oh, Sisko would try to punch him. That wouldn't work out well. I know Sisko can canonically beat up, ultra-engineered Superman. Because, you know, action. But, so the answer is that he was part of Section 31 before the show began. Ross. Which also implies how far back Section 31 goes. That's that one again. Yeah, it was also apparently he was also able to bail on it, which is interesting in its own right. I would say there are circumstances in which Section 31 allows you to leave in DS9's era. You're always under watch and you're always under surveillance because you are a security risk. And as weird as that may sound, I'm fine with that. But, yeah, I think they'd allow you to leave. You know one of my least favorite things about Enterprise's approach to Section 31? They imply they're the bad guys. Which is the answer to your question, Warp Core. No, they totally do. I was torn between my loyalty to my captain and my loyalty to you. And I'm loyal to my captain. And the whole way the scene is framed is as if he is, you know, saying, I'm not one of the bad guys anymore. I'm one of the good guys now. And it's just, wow. You don't know what Section 31 is, do you? Cool. Alright, let me update the HUD. I've just finished tabulating my notes a little bit. So we're up to 9 gameplay negatives. 55 gameplay positives, and nothing else has moved. Alright. You got your guesses in? Because I'm cutting it off. Cutting it off as soon as I am in a glorious furry tanuki suit. Soaring through the skies like a mythical animal of old. Correct, Warp Core. Yeah, that's the part that makes it even more aggravating. Every era of Trek likes to preach. I mean, I'm biased towards Sloane because his actor is amazing. But yes, I did like Sloane. Sloane's, he's fine. He's fine. Yep, I have achieved furry status. Please kill me. Just right in the face. Yeah, the Klingons have house, I forget their name. Obviously the Romulans have Tal Shiar, the Cardassians have the Obsidian Order. I felt like there was another big one out there. Is it House Prech? I don't remember. They show up periodically in STO. Suicide Death. Suicide! Alright, let's get that guess out there. Lock this down. Yeah, the Vulcans have the Zatvaj, which don't exist. And you can't convince me otherwise. The next Trek show is going to have Picard waking up. It was all just a dream! Picard, Discovery? Like have him name, like, one thing from each of the shows of New Trek, except for, like, maybe Lower Decks and Prodigy. And be like, it was all just a dream! Ugh. I roll my eyes, Sean. Yeah, that's where I'm going with that. So, is this the outro? The actual outro. Naturally, it's just like frickin' Bowser again. By memory, we do want as many of these time-ups as possible, so we're gonna kill everybody on our way up. Though I buy it with great pain. They don't call me the omnicidal maniac for nothing. Lord, nobody calls you that. Really? Time to fix that. You gotta earn nicknames, you know? They don't just happen. A lot of use out of it, at least. Hammered it. Of course there's no mid-mission checkpoints. Why would you have mid-mission checkpoints? Okay, so getting hit that early isn't even worth trying. I mean, nobody else had an engage. Did you ever notice that? Why did Picard have a thing? See you around, X-Wildcard. Have a good weekend. Happy Veterans Day, if you care. If you don't, happy day that happens to exist. Hey, Colgrim, what's Pike's? Sorry, that was two separate sentences. What's Pike's thing? Period. ... Hi, Colgrim. I don't even know what happened there. Pretty much, Lord Aramont. And see, I think this is why I'm a terrible player at heart, is because forcing me to redo the stage over and over is not something I particularly enjoy. I just view it as my time being wasted. So I'm just sitting here being irritable. It's like, can I get on with it? No. But, like, I've already done this part. And now I'm just playing worse because I don't care as much anymore. I think if I had a command, it would be something along the lines of, now! Go! Or die! By being my eternal undead minions! Sir, we were just asking what you wanted for dinner. Be my undead minion! It's also hot in here? Why is it hot in here? Undead minions, lower the temperature. Actually, speaking historically... Sorry, Mike Kamado. Stab! Alright. Rise! Okay, Mike Kamado is now an undead minion. Historically speaking, when I ask someone to do something, the thing that I say to culminate that order is thank you, or thanks, or appreciate you. Hardest non-MMO thing I've ever done. It's actually tough. Something legitimately difficult, not just time-consuming. See, funnily enough, I was actually thinking about the Chrono Trigger task, but I feel like that's cheating. That's like, I don't know. That's not really playing, right? That's architecture. I constructed the CT task. This is one of the first times I've been asked it, Lord Herman. Like, I've done a lot of hard crap over the years. I do actually pride myself on being good at video games. Yeah, I have 100%ed pretty much every FF game, and almost every Mario game. I have beaten Mike Tyson. I have defeated Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts 1. Matt F has found the caps lock. Let's skip these. There's 30 seconds we don't have, but I'm small. What? Why did you come back? I have killed penance. Although that's just boring. That's not hard at all. God damn it. That's true. We never beat that TFO on Elite on camera. That's also an MMO and therefore does not count. I've done much harder things than that in MMOs. Jesus Christ, stop doing that. That's true, I beat FF2 on the NES without using the leveling glitch because I didn't know it existed. I have beaten Mega Man 3 without getting hit. That might actually be the hardest thing I've ever done. No, I couldn't replicate it. I am not that... I don't have that kind of time anymore in my life. I can also beat most of the classic Mega Mans without using any special weapons in a very short period of time. While we're on the subject. I disagree with that completely. Hardest game I beat without cheats? Okay. So there's Cyber Shadow. Ninja Gaiden 1. No, I take that back. See, the problem is, I'm only going to count games that I think are actually hard, and not games that are fake hard. That's why I discounted Ninja Gaiden 1. I've beaten Ninja Gaiden 2. I've beaten Hollow Knight. I have every boss, Bloodborne, and Elden Ring. I don't consider them that hard, though, to be honest with you. Like, when I think of the hardest games, Elden Ring and Bloodborne aren't even, like, in the top 10 for me. I have almost 100%ed Celeste. That's a big one. Now that I think about that out loud. Look, it's not my fault that Mass Effect 1 sucks, Sean. Okay, I think that's the last of my old viewers who just left. Perfect. God damn it! Stop that! Fine. Yeah, the worst part is this isn't really hard either. And I know that sounds strange considering how often I'm dying, but I mean that. All this is your typical Mario bullcrap, which is do it without making any mistakes. Get through the entire stage without dying. It's a really, really common approach to Mario difficulty. In fact, virtually every major Mario game has like one ultra stage at the end, which is no checkpoints. I believe that's trend started with Galaxy 2, but I could be wrong about that. It's in Mario Odyssey, too, and it was the very, very, very last moon I got in Odyssey. Because that was a long-ass stage, and you had to do it without any kind of mistakes. And if you made a mistake 5 minutes in, you had to redo the entire stage. And I just don't particularly find that to be engaging difficulty. I don't even know what that is, Matt F. So that's my answer to you. Huh? Making as stupid a face as I possibly can while doing it. Huh? Yeah, 3D Worlds did the same damn thing. I believe the news have that concept too. New we, new you. So, you know, now that I say it out loud, we usually don't commit to doing the ultra optional, no really hard level on camera. So we could stop here, and I could call this run complete, and it is. I'm just saying, I can pull this trigger at any time. Guilt-free. Just trying to test my patience, aren't you? Screw you, Bowser. Actually, that's objectively not true, Orkor. I know you're joking, but people who actually study game design will tell you that doing things without checkpoints as an optional hard mode is fine. But all removing checkpoints does is reduces the player's ability to actually get good at the level or the stage. Because they're not allowed to practice properly. They're not allowed to actually do what they can in order to try and improve. Now, there is such a thing as too many checkpoints. That's a different problem. Hello? I feel like my niece is coming down here. No, not my bed, not my bed, not my bed! My bed has been attacked. Oh, and time. Agreed, Colgrim. Yep, she stole my bed, my warp core. But anyways, that's it. That's the game. We did it. Woo! We did it. We beat the game. Alright, so anyways, we're just gonna just go away. Just go away. Let's just get rid of that. Have some, I don't know. Let's have this music. And let's do the audit. Unfortunately, that took too damn long. So I'm afraid that that's, we're probably not going to start 3D World today. Which is a damn shame, because my niece is right over there, but whatever. She also says she'd rather die than play with her uncle, so...
I don't feel like playing it.
Okay, I'm sorry, kiddo. For real, though, that's not happening. Okay, so... Let's give a negative to character. It's so hot down here today. Jeez Louise. What is Evil West, Matt F? I'm assuming, based on context clues, that this is a video game? Listen, I'm up. I'm happening. I know all the things that you're talking about. Everyone, what's Matt F talking about? $10.85 hours. Yeah, that's gonna hurt the score. That's okay. Yeah, I've never even heard of that game, out of. Unless you're talking about like the sort of choose your own adventure game where like I can't talk anymore about it because that would be a spoiler. Because I don't know anything about it other than the big spoiler of the entire game. Hey. I knew it! She secretly just wanted me for my crackers. Odyssey's probably going to be pretty long. Probably. I know. I mean, in fairness, this was like... in fact, I can tell you how long this was. This was about a 5-hour game. A little under a 5-hour game. And then I was like, oh, right. We have to do the second half of the game. No, Yura. It was... Like, what's the opposite of a New Game Plus, right? I guess the inverse of a New Game Plus. Yeah, sure, we'll review Mario Paint. Old Game Minus. No, that's opposite. Although New Game Minus, I like that. New Game Minus. Master Quest. You know what? Actually, yeah, Ross wins. So yeah, I would say the second half of the game was a Master Quest. There were some new stages there, and we did give quite a few positives to them, so credit where credit is due. But that's also where the negatives started creeping in. And yeah, exactly, Inquisitor Sarah, the dick punching. Whoop. Okay, so this is 10.85. Everyone, final score to story, +1. Behold the glory of a 2D Mario story score. Right, yes, no, this is definitely a 3D game. Wink. We have actually covered Nier Automata. In fact, we have recently covered Nier Automata. It's under the current system. Yeah, one of these days, what I need to do at some point in time is I need to sit down and I need to figure out how many games score goes up the further into you get it rather than down. Like, several games have a good outro, but most games have that period. Like, Super Mario RPG was one that was being discussed earlier today. And it's just that, the dip, you know? Oh, in the chat. What's the dip? Look, just bear with me. Oh, no, you're not up for it, kiddo. But just to let you know, The last and final level pack came out for Mario Kart 8, if you ever feel in the mood. I mean, you say that, Colgrim. Historically speaking, it appears to be not the norm. You could try Guild Wars 2, Venetia. See if that's more your bag. Yes! Why does everybody ask that? For real. Why do people ask if Bowser's Fury is part of the review? Why is that a question? I don't understand. I'm not trying to be dark or facetious or evil or, you know, stabby. I'm legitimately curious. Why does everybody ask that? Like, what? I'm so confused. In what world would we not review Bowser's Fury? It meets all the criteria of reviewing a game. Like, if I load up Oblivion, you're not like, are you going to cover Shivering Isles? Because of course we're covering Shivering Isles. You know, I was thinking about naming both of those, because we got the Sunshine Syndrome. And honestly, calling it the Mystic Quest Curve actually appeals to me, especially with the... not the alliteration, but whatever that's called. I guess that is alliteration. Whatever. I stand by it. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 67, 29, 30, 31, 32. Not a small amount of level positives, honestly. I doubt they did it on purpose, Triaxia. I guess, Kieran? I don't know. That's a good question, Matt F. What do you think? Actually, I agree with you on that, Lord Harriman, which I know is shocking. Of course, now you're challenging me to think of another thing, which in my mind is obviously part of the main game. But people might question. Maybe the Mario and Luigi remakes on the 3DS? You know, the Bowser Jr. stuff, which we will be covering, by the way. That's not right. Oh, right. I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid. Frustrating. Definitely Benicia. There we go. Okay. Whoops. Wait, really? They don't have a music override for that? I guess that makes sense. It's a Game Boy game. I mean, it is quite possible, Madoff. Then again, you have to understand androids don't understand connections between people the same way we do. And they I literally enjoy fighting and pain in a way that we would associate with other things. Because, you know, we gotta hit that particular demographic. This game does not get the second replay positive, because of the same reason Sunshine doesn't. I think it's the first, though. I really do. I don't like 100%ing this game, and I'll never do it again, but just playing through is decently fun, so plus to replayability. Oops, I actually wrote that down twice. No, actually. Hang on, Colorado. I don't want to speak too negatively about Gen 1 Pokemon, but I stand by what I said. I don't think it would score particularly well. I think it is a very important game to set the stage, right? Landmark game, historically important, developmentally significant. Not a game I will ever replay, aside from one final time, which will be for the review. It'll be interesting. I'm actually looking forward to it. We could go a full Psychic team and just crush everything because Psychic is hilariously overpowered in that game. Or we could go full Ghost and realize that there is no such thing. Or we could go full Dragon and have the same problem. Yeah, we actually talk about a lot of the greater lore in that series, so spoiler warning, Matt F. Because we talk about Drakengard and the original Nier in that run, just as a warning. Oof! Oh. Okay. Audit. Let's do it. Full Dark team. Full Fairy team. Well, I'm just dating myself now. Not like anybody else will. Let's see here. Choices, no. There's no... Full Steel team. Alright, hang on. Let me get a Magnetite. And I think that's it. No. A Magnetite and an Onyx. That'll be my team. Oh, right. I didn't want to write that down. Gen 1, Lord Paramount. We're joking about the teams we'll set up in Gen 1. So, you know, Steel team would be an Onyx and a Magnetite. Possibly Inquisitor Sarah? What's the Mon? What's the Pokemon? The name's easier. We usually name Pokemon after viewers. I would agree that Gen 3 was the first Pokemon game. I need to come up with a phrase for that at some point. Because I actually already have a phrase called a first game, which has nothing to do with a first game. No, I do not, Matt F. Yeah, exactly, no, the first proper game, like Final Fantasy IV, Zelda Link to the Past, Super Mario Bros. 3. Codifier, we also use in a different way. Like, Doom is the codifier of FPSs, but it's not actually the first proper Doom game. Those apply differently, right? So I need to come up with a term to mean the first time a game or franchise found itself, right? Dragon Quest IV, while we're on the subject, or arguably 3. It's debatable. The Establisher. I like that. I like that. So that would make Pokemon Gen 3 the establisher of the Pokemon series, for example. Oh yeah, I meant to do that. Agreed, Colgrim. No, I like establisher. That's good. That's good. Kind of like how Empire Strikes Back is the establisher of Star Wars. TNG Season 3 is the establisher of Star Trek. Although some people would argue it's actually Wrath of Khan, although that's debatable. I don't know where to begin, Lord Paramount. Pokemon design, move design, availability of which Pokemon where. Like, Gen 1 is horrifically, hilariously out of balance because they weren't thinking about that yet, right? So yeah, like, where... Probably either the beginning of Season 2 or the beginning of Season 4, one of the two, Ross. Which Pokemon... So the Pokemon that exist, the abilities those Pokemon have, the stat spread that those Pokemon have, the way that the stats interact with each other. Because all the way back in Gen 1, Special was just one stat, which was just hilariously out of balance. Where what items were, the kind of items, like the equipment layer started getting going in Gen 3. The nature of breeding and evolving started really getting its stride. Like, I would say Pokemon 3, see around about F. I would say Gen 3 is when they finally figured out what a Pokemon game really should be. And ergo is the establisher, right? Like, what you're effectively asking me is, what's the difference between Final Fantasy 1 and Final Fantasy 4? Which is probably the example of that. And I find that hard to quantify because it's like it feels like you're saying, well, I mean, they both have magic, they both have white mages and airships, and I'm like, but have you played FF1? There's actually another concept for this. TV trope calls it early installment weirdness. It's when an early version of something isn't really the same as the later stuff, right? Yeah, that's exactly Inquisitor's here. Final Fantasy 1 is actually just Dungeons and Dragons with a slightly different coat of paint on it. Final Fantasy 4 is Final Fantasy. And yeah, Warcraft 1 versus Warcraft 3 is another perfect example of that. That's why I used Star Wars earlier, because A New Hope was designed with a completely different mindset and concept in mind. Right, I got rid of the background. I forgot about that. Here you go. Sorry, I actually got rid of it earlier. I'm also getting distracted in my auditing. I should probably hurry the hell up. Show pilots tend to be different, but not always. And nowadays, like that practice has pretty much gone by the wayside nowadays. Oh, yeah, that's another thing that changed. In Gen 1, they didn't really think about encounter design. Most of the enemies had no real thought into what Pokemon they had and what stats and abilities those Pokemon had. In Gen 3, thought was put into it. Also, while we're on the subject, the very nature of how the AI works was different. The way that Pokeballs worked was different. Now, that one I can't give you details on because I have to go Google it. But people have reverse engineered the specific math of how Pokeballs work. And it's bonkers how different Gen 1 is to every other game. Dragon Quest 1 is different. Go watch my video on Dragon Quest 1 for more details on that. See you around, Inquisitor Seru. Good fortune on the call. It's a good question, Trihexia. I don't know. So far, we've covered Galaxy 1, which was pretty legit throughout until you got to the optional stuff. Galaxy 2, which is pretty legit until you got to the optional stuff. 3D Land, which is pretty legit until you get the... Okay, never mind. Yeah, so far the games we've covered have languished the further into the game you get. We'll see if that continues to be a trend. There's a bunch we haven't covered yet. I'll guarantee that'll be a problem in Mario Brothers 1. 3 might bypass that. I think World will as well. It's really common experiment. Most games, like statistically speaking, most games get worse the further into them you get. Of any genre, of any series. The exceptions are exactly that, the exceptions. It makes sense. Developers, run out of speed, or run out of time, or run out of budget. Or they're just tired, and they just kind of want to get on with it. They've run out of ideas, maybe. That is one of the final reasons why I tend to champion the idea of shorter games, by the way. Because Blade to Vault is literally Hitler! It's because of the fact that shorter games tend to avoid that exact problem. There's a reason why most Mega Man games, the best stages are the final ones. It took me the whole Mario World thing to do that audit. Jeez, I'm terrible. Here, have some Mega Man music. We don't really have a contemporary to compare this alongside. Super Mario 3D Land. 10.85 hours long. +1 to story, which is 0.09 pluses per hour, and a story ratio of 60%. Not good in any sense. Gameplay-wise, +35. Much better. That's 3.23 positives per hour, and a ratio of 81%. Much better. Giving us a final golden number of... Can I get a drum roll, please? I want to see where Mario 64 DS landed. Hang on. So Mario 64 DS got a 58.3. And I consider that the best version of Mario 64. So naturally, I am literally Hitler, because Mario 3D Land got an 85.34, which, as a reminder, under the new formulas, is actually even higher than it used to be. That is a good game. That is a damn good game. And it looks like Lord Harrowmont, Jesus, man, guessed that pretty much on the nose with his psychic powers that he has. This is a good a time as any to remind people that you can put your guessing game things towards up to 3 games, and Lord Harrowmont has only put it towards 1. Therefore, I expect everyone in chat to throw donuts in Lord Harrowmont until he tells me 2 others. Just throw donuts. Just throw donuts. Yes, donuts. They're pumpkin flavored too. I mean, donuts are donuts. That's all I'm saying. Thank you, Ryman, for your support. Always appreciate. If you want to put that towards up to 3 things, please let me know. Dreadnought? What the heck is Ratchet and Clank Dreadnought? Is that on the list? Oh, deadlocked. Gotcha. I'm like, huh? And this guy, what? 1. David Bach. Hey, Valerian. I'm tired for some reason. I think it's just fog. Hopefully that'll be gone by tomorrow. Because tomorrow we're playing a really good game.